We've officially started. Every camera is rolling. So first off, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for gathering here today. This feels like the Friendsgiving, but for creators, right? Like everyone getting together, taking the time out of their day. The one thing I definitely just want to touch on really quickly is like how grateful, not only am I, but like I think everyone here sort of feels the same way, like to have like the creative friendship that we have, because when we first start out in this journey, super lonely. You almost like don't know, you don't have anyone to like rely on or ask questions. And like being here today, spending the time that we did, shooting photos, getting me emotional and stuff. But it's like I remember not having someone to call or someone to text or to ask, or have these conversations with. And like for us to be in abundance of like, hey man, you got this thing, you got that thing. It's like in those moments when you're by yourself, you only wish you have this. And like, I just want us to take the moment to like recognize like we have that, right? If you ever felt that, like when you started out, like, man, I don't know if I'll ever, how do I, create friendships or this in the industry? It's like, we're there, So I'm externally grateful for each and every one of you taking the time to come out. And yeah, let's begin the convo. That's my way of saying grace, basically. Amen.
Amen. Let them cross.
Hold for roof sound.
But yeah, what's everyone's thoughts of, this is our technically our second annual creative collaboration.
It is.
But
Are you flying back next year to come back?
Creative Extravaganza.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Extravaganza, that's the name.
Well, last year wasn't it like Creative Mayhem?
Creative Madness.
Oh, right.
Last year was Creative
It's a little
Madness.
bit better, like,
Now
fancier.
It's gonna be a different name every
Creative
time.
As ChatGPT evolves.
Yeah. So
Well, I just want to say thank you guys. Appreciate you. This has become one of my favorite days throughout the year because it's kind of the end of the year, and usually during the year it's kind of just work clients. These days are limited where creators just come and create for themselves, no pressure, try new things, and obviously it's in my space. So appreciate you guys for always referring me, coming through. You guys are family. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. And shout out again to Darwin for building this, like because it's hard, man. Like I've had conversations with you, like, hey, what does it look like running a studio, or like, you've even talked about it publicly online about,
Creative Mayhem.
Yeah, like it's madness, but also like the cost that goes into it, having to survive, keep the doors open and during slow season. Like we are grateful taking advantage of it now, obviously, but it's like, it's the dark moments that no one sees. It's the days that it's lonely. It's the days that it's like quiet that, make, I think, days like these so fulfilling or so appreciative. Sure. Yeah.
I want to learn a little bit about that actually. Like, what's it like? What was it like first starting the studio? Like, why did you get into this, and how's it been going? How long have you been doing it?
So we're about to go on 2 years in April. So we made it 2 years. How do we start? I hated going to studios downtown in the city. So I was like, there's nothing like this out here in Westchester. So obviously I was like, let's take a leap of faith. I quit my job. We got this space. I used to have a smaller studio, but it wasn't out for creators. And then one day I was just like searching online, Craigslist, I don't know, came, I was like, should I do it? And now we're here doing creative meetups. It's been obviously a long process, but it's rewarding. It's not as easy as cool as people make it seem. Like these days are super cool, but this is not a normal day in my life. Yeah. It's a big overhead. So.
How'd you advertise starting out? Like, how'd you get people to find out about this place?
Social media.
Social media.
I like networking, so I know a lot of people.
And you're a videographer and photographer?
I'm a photographer.
Okay.
I'm only a videographer for my business, and that's it.
Yeah.
So if you see videos, definitely for me,
okay.
not for other people.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to say, which I know a lot of people don't know, but like you and your wife have a pretty decent following on TikTok and Instagram as well. How many people on TikTok? Yeah.
You can put me in spot. We're about to say 200K on TikTok.
So it's like to have that following, or playing the social media game. I assume you had that before you opened up the studio.
Yeah, the TikTok, yeah, but the TikTok really doesn't correlate to anything we do here at the studio. But we've always been pretty active on social media, period, whether that be YouTube or Instagram. So people just know us. But the TikTok doesn't correlate to anything we do.
So the reason why I bring it up is because I'm curious to know, has creating an online presence helped with running things in the studio, promoting it, Like, has there been any form of assistance, or it's been like, hey, it's a different business model, it needs to be marketed completely different? Or talk to me a little bit.
No, it definitely helps. I feel like everybody should be doing social media, because even videos that I post that are not cinematic, like those videos do really well. So like I could do I don't know if you remember the earthquake that happened. Like I did a ad right away, and like within a day it brought me like 3 bookings of like $400. So, and that was like a stupid video. It wasn't like a cinematic.
I think it was, I know you guys felt that shake or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So it was like super fast, but just adapting to those trends, creating social media content for my other platforms allows me to do this like normal. Like it is what it is. It's my business. I need to promote it no matter what. But yeah, you guys should do the same. Even if it's not like cinematic, like just post it. You never know who's watching.
Yeah. I mean, I post a lot. Nothing like, I don't get a lot of views, but I just post because I like to share just what I make. And it's funny that you say that, because every video that I'm like, oh man, I put a lot of time into this. This is really cool. A lot of people are going to like this. It gets the least amount of views. And then the videos that are like, I don't really think this is good, but I'm just going to throw it out there to stick and, just to throw it out there. And then it gets views. And I'm like, I don't even like that video. Like, it got more attraction.
I mean, the biggest advice I will say is us creators tend to create for creators, which is the wrong mindset. You got to create for your client. Yeah. So obviously F1.2, you like doing reviews, it's super cool, but you're just attracting other creators that are never going to hire you. Yeah. So it looks pretty cool, but unless you're going to service a creator, like, sell a course or something like that, it doesn't make sense. You gotta create for your target audience. That's what I do here at the studio. Like the behind the scenes is to bring in creators. So for me, it works because this is a creator space. But like for my photography, like I post behind the scenes for my client to see the experience.
You guys smell that?
Yeah, I
It
do.
smells like actual fire, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Is it
obviously not that, no, but I don't know.
Like
it does smell like smoke.
The tree's on fire.
I don't know. Anyway.
600 is too powerful.
So following up on that, one thing I wanted to touch on, it's like everyone's concerned now. What's happening?
No, you're right though.
But it smells, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the
I don't really
plastic.
smell it.
Is it the plastic maybe?
I don't think. It's not even like hot.
No, it smells like plastic, not like burning. I don't smell
It's
anything
too much
burning.
fire being sprayed.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like you said, don't create for other creators, but for creating for your ICP, your target audience, your ideal customer profile, whatever you want to call it. One thing I've talked to some of you guys about is like creating content for yourself. And like, I remember coming to the studio that one day and like my intentions were to create content, me on the camera. And it's like, there's a lot of resistance I feel like a lot of creators have, right? Imposter syndrome, or a form of just like, hey, like, where do I even start? What do I talk about, right? Perfectionism. Oh, perfectionism. And so at least for me, one thing I'm hoping that you guys hold me accountable, because I think you really helped me out when we were here. It was like, like I was getting in my own head. You were just there, bro. Like answer the question or whatever. I just remember you being really a big help that day. And I think one thing we could all do for each other going into next year is like, hey, next year is our year. If that's the year that you want to conquer, let's make the intention of like, hey, Andre, I know you talked about doing personal branding content. Hey, that's something you realize it's also important for your brand to market it. When are you going to start setting that time, right? Holding each other accountable, where you're able to, I can have that conversation with you and you can come to me and be like, yeah, Brian, I'm going to do it this day. All right, Andre, I'll follow up with you on that. So I think that's super, like, I'm just thinking for whoever's going to watch this, if this ever sees the light of day, which it will, setting the intentions now, like plant the seed. All right, we're going to create content. How can we help each other? Because we all know what it feels like to have resistance towards filming. I know Reggie's a big help to me. Like when he comes over my house and he's just there recording, I don't have to think as much, and I don't make excuses of why I can't, record, or this won't see the light of day. So I think I'm curious on everyone else's thoughts on creating content for yourself. If you haven't done so already, is that something you guys want to do in 2020?
I mean, I know for me, I personally took this year off from social media, essentially, from posting. Like, I just wanted to, like, it was more like a lifestyle shift, just take a step back. I felt overwhelmed by it, because I feel like I was doing it at one point because I felt like I had to. And I don't like doing things when I feel like I have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be wanting to do it. So I took a step back. And now I'm feeling like that motivation and that energy just naturally come back to me to want to do it. Because I'm just that kind of person. I feel like I need to be in the space to want to do it. But I did notice, like I was telling you earlier, I did notice like a dip for sure in terms of like inquiries or like conversations from clients and things like that. That was a core element. So now I'm definitely gonna get back into it now.
I feel like you do have to though.
Yeah,
Like if you at the end of the day, if you're going into like a business, yeah, now with social media, but it used to be like newspapers or commercials and you know the yellow pages. Like that was all technically social media back then. So if you take a break, like your business is gonna take a hit. Obviously, if you get referrals and networking, that helps a lot. But if you're not doing none of that, your business is gonna take a hit no matter what. And then you really to get started back again is gonna be even harder.
Yeah, you got to build the momentum. You're back again.
The way I do it now is like I don't overcomplicate things. Like I'm not building for creators. Like my audience doesn't know what 1080p or 4K is. Like they don't know what S-Log or standard is. Like to them it's like, oh my God, it records better than my iPhone. So, but I used to be that way. Like, damn, I need the best camera.
And that's where I think that's part of what was holding me up. Where like now moving forward, I'm thinking I'm just gonna film stuff on my phone and just put something together. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, it has to be this perfect production.
You wanna know my biggest hack? So I record everything in 60p. I put it into Premiere, which I use. I just chop up the best part, the clips. I go into Instagram, I don't edit it on Premiere. I look for Instagram template or TikTok template. I upload the clips and it edits to the music. Like nobody knows who edits that. And it's just like 1, 2, 3. And people be like, oh, who's your editor? Instagram is my editor.
Is that what you just did earlier here?
That one, yeah, I just edited it on, because it just doesn't matter.
Does it get more attraction because it's a not a trend, but a...
Sometimes, yeah, you can take advantage of music, but I don't care if it gets a trend. Like, I just want to get it out. Like, to me, it's like, how much can I post for people to see it?
I think that's what trips me up with like these wedding edits. It's like I finish up a wedding project.
Yeah, you're tired of it. You don't want to post
I want to go back into it. I don't want to like cut things out of it, make like an Instagram trailer. But I think because I'm thinking about it of the frame of like I need like a 60-second like polished like edited to music Instagram trailer. But why can't I just take like a clip of like the first dance and throw that up? Put like a trending reel on it or something.
That's what you got to do.
Or like maybe an emotional moment of.
And
like,
it could be
more
more meaningful to the
Exactly. It probably would be if they saw like one intimate moment rather than like this nice edited like reel. I think that would actually.
And people don't watch it. Like people just want to scroll. So it's like just put a few clips. You're telling a story. Keep it moving.
They're only gonna watch the first 5 seconds anyway. So
like if you post go.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that like if I have as a proof like one of my reels got very viral, like 800 almost 900K views, and it was just the simplest thing where like the groom cried while the bride was coming on a Harley with her dad, and it was like the most simplest clip like you can put together, but it just got so viral. So like I think like nowadays people don't really care about the polish, but care more about like either like something that I can relate to, like an emotion, or like something like behind what was created. Like I don't think people care anymore about the polish, like a very polished product.
Yeah. I mean, you do weddings. Like, how often do you sit there and watch a minute and 30-second like full wedding recap of a random person? You're not. Like you're gonna watch the highlights. If they're walking down crying, like maybe to see what happens as they walk down, or like is the groom gonna cry? Like those are things that trigger people, but not like a whole from they woke up to the end. It's like I don't know you. Congratulations, but.
Would you say, Jesse, that this time off has like it probably hurt you like financially, but do you think like now it's even better? Like you're gonna go into 2025 much.
I just feel more refreshed, like more like, cause I got to, at least me, you know, like they say, like art imitates life imitates art. Like I feel like I'm getting to pull from just living life and getting back into it that way, as opposed to burning myself out, being like nonstop and myself homework all the time. I got it. Like I just feel like I'm gonna operate better doing it more organically from a more rested place now. Essentially,
I think one thing I want to touch on with yours, and again, everyone works a little bit different. Like for me, the one thing that's helped me a lot is like consistency over intensity. Like if I say I'm gonna go to the gym every single day, it doesn't mean I'm gonna go balls to the wall like type of workout. But if I commit to doing something every single day, whether that's a 10-minute walk, I've at least accomplished what I set out to do. And I've seen and I've talked to a lot of people that tend to feel burnt out, or it's because they're going intense. But I think a lot of people, and I've been a victim of this, you tend to gain imposter syndrome when you or not imposter syndrome. You don't believe in yourself at times because you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it. And then that compounds over time. And then you go to this like one point where you're supposed to do this one big thing and either you don't feel like you're ready to go. That's the one, like recently I was just like 2 days ago, he knows, like I was completely like out of it, and I just like reflected. I'm like, why am I feeling like this? Like what is happening? And I realized it's like I wasn't getting up on the time that I said I was going to get up. I wasn't, eating the right foods. Like everything compounds, everything leads into one another. And I think one thing we need to keep in mind, in my opinion, is like, what information are you feeding yourself? But ultimately, like, are you doing the things that you set out to do? Because that's going to affect the next decision, or that next, it might avoid that next burnout because you've just been so consistent on doing the one thing that you set out to do,
And with like imposter syndrome, it's like maybe I want to be a runner, but I don't maybe I'm not a runner. I did do running in high school, but let's say I wasn't a runner and I wanted to be. Like, how do you become a runner? You start going on runs and doing runs, right? But if maybe the first couple times you go out and run, it feels weird. Like you see other people like maybe with their nice shoes and like they're all like their fit is like dialed in for running, and you just got like normal shorts, and you just feel like a little bit like, man, that guy like what makes that? This is how I would feel. Like I'd see people like in their element, like dialed in with like a certain like running, cycling, or tennis, and not feel like I'm doing the same thing as them. You know what I mean? But it's like you don't really get to that level until you like start doing it. So I feel like, in terms relating it back to like social media and posting, like if you want to be someone who is posting on social media, you have to get out and post. Even if it's not who you are now, it like could be in the future if you just go out and do it.
That's a great point.
It depends what you post into. Like, I feel like when you encounter burnout, it's because you're like searching for something, like some type of validation that is really not, like if you're searching validation for views, like it's not.
Oh, it's gonna end quick.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, I've got millions of views on every single platform, and it just the next day is just a regular day.
Has my pockets changed? Has I made more money? Like, and I think that's the common misconception. That's
But if you create for a client and it goes viral, that's where it works. Right. But if you create for a creator and it goes viral, you're just gonna have people either telling you your f-style sucks or your color grading sucks, and you're not gonna get no clients. But if it goes viral and you did it with the right intentions, you're gonna get clients.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest key for me, is creating for your clients and not creating for creators.
When you post on social media, do you have it like scheduled out?
Sometimes I'll take like a day and be like, I'm gonna create 30 pieces of content.
Yeah, and you schedule it to post on that day, or do you post it yourself that day?
No, I schedule it. Okay. Yeah, or sometimes I just create it, draft it, and then just keep it moving.
That's what I've kind of started getting into.
It's almost like the diet or frame. It's like if you don't have bad food in your house to begin with, you're not going to eat the bad food. So it's like if let's say you want to get in shape, like, or the goal is to post on social media. It's like, how can you remove as much resistance as possible? Well, if you have things like a scheduler, if you make a plan to sit down one day and like, I'm going to record at least 20 pieces of content, that's 20 days worth of content. Yeah. Boom. I set out to do that. I do that. I schedule it. Less resistance. Now you have, the way I like to do it's like a game. It's like you bought yourself a month to do whatever you want, and then you just have to dedicate that one day again, create the content, boom, schedule it out, and you're good. And it's like this, it's going to the gym. You wake up, if you run in the morning, it's that routine, like making it that habit. And I think you touched on a great point. It's like seeking that validation. Like we end up I got caught up in doing it all the time. I posted that one thing that worked so hard on, and then pause. And it like, you wait for it to go up, and it's like, oh shit, it didn't get what I thought it was gonna get. And it's like, all right, I'm not gonna even bother creating next time. It's the discouragement versus if you create these pieces before you even post it, that you don't run into that.
And I think even it's gotten easier because when I'm stuck on like brainstorming, like now with ChatGPT and stuff, like I know we were doing that a little bit, like I'll just literally ask it, like, give me ideas for a wedding VR for whatever, to like for Instagram. And it'll just splurge out ideas. And I feel like even that makes it easier for me because I'm like, no, I don't know how to think.
Yeah, like captions are annoying.
Or even captions.
Or is that what you're calling it?
Yes, I've used
captions. Like, hey, I'll pull up together like 3 captions that I like. I'll be like, hey, this is my target audience. Give me like 10 variations of different captions. So
yeah.
Copy, paste.
But here's an interesting topic though, is you relying on that and using the technology, which is great to use. I love it. But one thing I think about is like, is it making us less creative actually? If all we're doing is relying on it to make our captions, to brainstorm our ideas.
Me personally, I'm a business person before I'm a creative.
Also too, if you're in a drought, like in a creative funk, I mean, you're in a creative funk, you're either gonna not create something there, or you can at least get like a little push. But if you're fully relying on it for everything, then I would say it's
Yeah, I think it all depends on how you're using it. Like for me personally, like now with the new AI for editing, like at least for masking things that takes forever, where it used to take forever, now it takes like less than 10 minutes, and it can actually motivate you to be more creative instead of like actually be
Instead of being
like you need instead of being so technical, it helps you to like actually be more creative. And I think about like the ideas. I think that also could be great sometimes because like sometimes you have like creative blocks where you don't know what to do, and like sometimes having a guide can help you kind of get out of that creative block. So it all depends how you use it, and also not abusing it, because sometimes if you abuse it, like I know people that completely just do everything with AI, like emails, things like that, and then like it becomes like now you become dependent of it instead of using it as a tool.
To like I was doing some research. It's like AI and ChatGPT, it's made for a general public, right? It's not a specific. Yeah, you can narrow it down by feeding it prompts and things, but if you ask a generic question like write me a caption for my latest Instagram video, and you give it the information, how many other people are asking ChatGPT to write them a caption as well? And sooner or later, you start to realize like that's a AI caption.
You see the word elevate too much.
Yeah, or dive deep. That's another one. But I think going back to your point, it's like it allows you to allocate your creative juices for the one thing you want to be creative in. I hate writing. I can't stand it. I have no problem letting ChatGPT take over. And if people say that's an AI caption, great.
But the only people that would know are creators. Like a client that does not use ChatGPT is not gonna know. They're gonna be like, "Wow, you write great." So.
Or Adobe Podcast, like I hate like dealing with audio stuff, like mix it on post. Just put in Adobe Podcast, it's gonna sound great most of the time.
Those are great tools.
And it's like it saves me so much time, like more than like an hour just tweaking EQs and
Yeah, they just came out with the V2.
yeah.
Have you used that?
No, not yet.
They built it in now
It's
to
like-
Premiere Pro, where
Yeah.
you don't have to export. You can just
Well, I'm still on Premiere 2022, so
After I stop my podcast.
not for me.
So real quick, because this is probably going to be the last round of questions with the time that we have. For 2025, what are some of your guys' intentions or goals going into 2025? We'll start with Armando. We'll start. Yeah, everyone look at him.
Wait, give me a second. Let me think about it. Oh my god.
You're just glowing, man. I don't know.
Let's start with Armando and we'll go around.
Getting a little red there, bro.
For 2025, well, I'm launching my new like rebrand, completely rebranding for like another like also like another part of the industry, like another level of the industry, which like I feel more attracted to. This past year, this year, I constantly been like focused on learning that industry.
Is it a secret?
No, it's like oh, it's like it's in the wedding industry, but obviously
luxury.
I'm trying to hit the luxury market, so like learning.
Save your chest, man.
You are a luxury wedding DJ.
Yeah, so
This is what I'm talking about. Like,
filmmaker.
you don't really
So
identify yourself with
yeah,
that until you do
that's
it.
true. So like I've been studying a lot during this year. I've been studying a lot the industry, working with people in the ultra luxury, getting to know like the ins and outs. Like because like even though yes you might charge more, but there's also like things that are like you have to be careful and saying things like that. Like there's also limitation. It's not like oh like flowers, like a beautiful flower about the luxury market, but I just feel more attracted to it now. Like I study it during this year, and like that's my whole rebranding. So coming out the new year, I'm just planning to completely transition to that market.
What's it called?
The brand. Oh, it's the fourth film. So we. Yeah.
The fourth film. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we just transitioned into that new brand, doing everything new, like from like logo, website. We are kind of even like changing some of our films to have that more of that luxury aesthetic that gives that luxury feel. So like pretty much we're aiming for that, and hopefully also cutting a little bit of the amount of weddings per year, just so we can focus more on the creative aspect too of those weddings, and just give all the what it says in the luxury market is like serving more, like serving better those clients, because that's the main key point of that market is just like serving more like the clients and dedicate more time to those clients to create a better product that actually is going to keep selling you in that market.
To bounce off of that, because I'm probably on a similar path for next year as Armando here. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm just doing so many weddings, like I can't focus on one project for too long. And I want to be able to, you know, if you're anything like me, it sounds like you probably are. Like you care about the quality of the product, like how it looks, how the color grading, the audio dialing, and all that in. And that all takes time, right? So I feel like I'm being pushed towards more of that higher end market as well, just to be able to have more time to spend with each project and each client. So for moving forward, 2025 and beyond, I would love to just do like, maybe 10 to 15 like projects of my own clients. Then maybe I'll do some freelance for other studios and including like commercial and, non-wedding projects like with you, Brian, and things like that. So I want to get to like 50-50. I keep saying like 50-50, 50% weddings and like 50% non-weddings. And I also want to prioritize traveling for next year. Like, just making sure to have time. I'm 25 now, so I want to be able to spend the rest of my 20s, like traveling, experiencing things. I don't want to just be working all the time. So if that means I make less and I have to spend more on travel, I'm okay with that because I just want to make sure that's a priority too, like family, connecting with others, community, and yeah.
100%.
So we're saying on the wedding theme.
Yeah, give us your
No, it's 2025.
All the wedding people give us your wedding.
It's your goals, man, for 2025.
Yeah, so I'm not going in that direction when it comes. Not kidding. It's the same.
I want the broke people.
But still happy to support you as we talked about earlier, whether it's an associate or as a second, anything like that. More so trying to go into the B2B space, so impact stories, getting that going. A lot of this year was a lot of networking, meeting business owners, pitching, things like that, getting that honed in. So off season right now is going to be really getting all that stuff together, the content for it and everything. And still being in the wedding space, but again, there's way less weddings next year than this year, so trying to like either 50-50 or maybe less than 50.
70-30.
Just really like a lifestyle goal, and I get my weekends back, to be honest. So I'm going to start moving back in that direction. And yeah, I mean, if I end up in the luxury space over like organically, sure, but it's not necessarily what I'm aiming for. But yeah, I might even actually start talking to venues to be like a what's called a preferred vendor, make those kind of partnerships for the long term, so that way I can like have those consistent jobs, but without committing myself fully to needing to like continue escalating the business to any degree.
Yeah, and that way you can work at venues that you like to work at, and you know how everything works.
You know the area.
Like going to Le Chateau, like if
Yeah,
went there like 20 times a year, I feel like I wouldn't care because they treat you well. The experience is always good. So
Is there any personal, besides the work aspect, but is there any personal goals that you set out that you want to?
personal goals, really, I think really heavily investing like the money I'm making now into the future. Really just making sure I'm set for the future so that I can continue to develop a lifestyle, a more free lifestyle. I think financial freedom is a big goal of mine for sure. Traveling, definitely. That's a big one.
Any plans? Where are you gonna go?
let's do it. Let's do a road trip, boys. Let's do a road trip. Iceland. Iceland.
I've been there, yeah.
You know some
that was the first
spots.
place I went out of the United States. Iceland. Yeah. I had a
could
great
do
buddy
upstate
in
New
high
York
school.
this
He was
year.
just like, let's go to Iceland this weekend. I'm like, all right. He's like, get your passport. Well, first
That's
he was like, get your
fun.
passport.
That's
I'm
exciting.
like, okay, I'll get my passport. I'm like, where are we going? Yeah.
And then just I think I want to revisit, or like that's why I was saying I'm trying to get into photography again, because I want to revisit like what got me into all this stuff in the first place. Like I want to go back to the basics, start shooting photos again, just fall in love with the creative aspect of things. That I think I did start leaning so heavily to the business side of things that it's like, all right, I got into this for a whole different reason originally. So I think that's going to be a big goal of mine. So you probably see me shooting photos a lot more like now with no pressure, no client pressure, nothing, just for myself, and get back in touch with that side of it.
Need a model, let me know. I got you.
Wedding photography.
Yeah, right. And then I end up and it comes full circle.
Wearing stories by JCO.
What about you, Dylan?
Well, so for this year, definitely like, as for weddings, I've decided like, I'm not going to really target the luxury market as well. I was thinking about what I really want to target with weddings, and it's definitely like more outdoorsy type. Even if they're paying
like
less.
elopements, maybe?
What? Yeah, elopements, but anything like, I don't mind barn weddings. I like anything that's outside when the couple portraits are out in the field or something. I'd rather that than just some venue where they just put you in the corner and it's just like a cookie cutter. Everybody's doing the same thing. And definitely stay out of city weddings. That's what I'm gonna target for weddings this year. Of course, like continue to grow with FPV. I feel like I was going hard this spring, and then started to get like I didn't try as hard to grow that as I could have. Also, too, like I discovered this year that I wanted to slow down a little bit on work and do a little bit more of a balance with traveling and just hiking, camping, and all that stuff that I like to do, which still worked out being the first year on my own. And I want to continue to do that. So all of that is went pretty well financially, at least for 2024. And but personal goals for next year, this spring, I'm planning on and this is probably going to take up a lot of focus, probably at the start, but I'm going to invest in a real estate property, like a duplex in like the Hudson Valley area, and rent out the other portion for, they can pay the mortgage. And in that way,
This guy's 22, but
I'm not paying rent,
Okay,
or at least whatever rent I am paying is going towards an asset. So then my biggest expense would be gone, and then I can then focus and put all my money into my business. Get into real estate, get a property. I'm not worried about the market, but if I can get that under control, then the biggest expense would be out of the way, at least.
Where do you live now? You say you
I live in New Paltz.
Okay. So
Upstate.
you moved out from your sister, like where you were before?
No, I'm still there, but this winter I'm just working at a ski mountain at Bel Air. So what I'm going to be doing is my dad's 20 minutes away from the mountain. So I'm getting out because my lease is up. So I'm going to get out of that lease, go there. I'm still paying him rent, and groceries and all that stuff. And at least just do the mountain. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to be focusing on finding somewhere.
We got to set up a ski. I don't know if you ski, but
yeah, I want to get everybody out. Like,
No, but that's good that you're doing that, because I was I was on a coaching call with like a financial advisor. We're giving finance advice to like all creators. One of the biggest issues that we have in the creator space that nobody thinks about, like their retirement or like what they're gonna do after this. Like everybody thinks about it now, but what about like in 20, 30 years? Like, are you gonna do this when you're 50? Are you gonna do this when you're 60? Exactly. Probably not. Yeah. So.
And you've worked with those guys that are in the 50s and 60s.
Oh yeah, I have worked with those, and they're miserable. Yeah. Like I can tell you, they're like pissed, they're miserable, they're like in their 50s, their back hurts, and the only thing that the whole day they're complaining. It's like, oh, it hurts.
Photographers or video?
Photographers.
I hear people complain all the time. They're like 35 and they're. I'm like, she
was so mean.
Oldest I've seen is probably like late 40s.
Her name's At.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about you, Reggie? What is your goals for 2025?
Definitely looking into 2025. I think 2024 was the year of like work for me, and I know I've established that. I've had moments of burnout. I've had moments of just needing to take a step back, but I kind of didn't. There was no point in this year where I wasn't working. So I definitely know going into 25, like there's gonna be like a week or two where I just take time off to myself, and I promised my girlfriend that we finally go on vacation just so that we can finally have that intimate time. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. That's why I'm working so hard in 24 to, like it's like kind of like that North Star that you're looking at. Hey, there's gonna be 2 weeks in early 25 that like you can breathe then. So that's where I'm at in terms of just continuing the rest of the year working. Personal growth, I'm actually very happy with my life. I definitely want to keep growing in where I'm at. But in terms of like relationship with just family, girlfriend, friends, everything like that, I have I think. Fitness-wise, I'm very active, and work-wise, I have a good balance of everything. And I will say, one thing I think I want to grow in is I see myself in this position. Like about a year ago, I felt like actually just a year ago, I felt like, I don't know how do I word this? I feel like now I'm in a position where I'm kind of like managing people, right? Whether it's for Evolve Frame or I work a broadcasting job and I'm directing people now. So now I'm like more in control of people, and like I've noticed that like when you're managing a bunch of people, only so much is on you. You can guide them, you can direct them, but like I've had moments like when I'm broadcast directing and someone just moves the camera, and I was live on them, and you know, obviously you're live, you can't edit that out, and it's just like the head broadcast people, they look at the director, they say, why didn't you turn, you know, right after that? So I think trying to manage myself and understanding that like you can't control the outcome, you can control only what you can control. That I think that's what I want to keep doing moving forward, as well as learning a better way to manage people, right? Because, you know, sometimes I'll manage people and they'll say, hey, I'm really down, right? And okay, I go, okay, just I'll extend your work this much, right? But even though I'm the one that's gonna get hurt by that. But now I still want to find that balance of firmness, fairness, and I guess for them, like find their work-life balance. So I think work-wise, that's really what I'm looking for, as well as keep growing. You know, if anyone here ever needs a set of hands, that's what I'm always here for, as well as that. So that's what I want to really focus on, work-wise. Personally, do want to run another half marathon. I ran one earlier this year. I wasn't very happy with my time. I did wear bad shoes, so my feet were killing me. It was like 2:15. It was 2 hours 15 minutes. Not what I'm proud of, but I do want to do that again. I want to do more challenges. I did a Spartan race earlier this year. I've done a lot of challenges within myself. Like when I'm at the gym, I feel I don't know if I'm in the best shape of my life in terms of like muscular, but distance running wise, I feel it's best I've ever have. So definitely just wanting to get more fit in shape, as well as being more knowledgeable in what I'm doing, more intentional in the gym, right? So you know, I'm one of those guys. Like like I said earlier, I do this thing where I'm working for this first few weeks in the 25. I do this thing every week where it's like every Saturday morning is like I'm at the gym for like 4 hours, and it's not that I'm working out for 4 hours. It's because I just take my time between the workout. I'll do like half an hour of cardio and then like half an hour in the sauna, which I normally don't have during the week. So I think that like finding that time where it's like finding something that you can work for during the week to use as like a North Star, that's what I definitely want to keep pursuing.
I wish me, Jesse, Armando, and Dylan could be 4 hours in a sauna and gym on a Saturday.
It's a Saturday morning. Saturday morning.
Wake up.
Yeah, wake up at 5.
Wake up at 4 a.m.
But I actually do wake up at 5 a.m. I recommend you guys getting a barista girlfriend, because you have to be.
Wait, what do you recommend?
Get yourself a girlfriend.
Get a girlfriend that works as a barista. That's why I'm up at 5 in the morning.
Oh, that's a very interesting
Because
recommendation.
I have to
you
give-
recommend getting a girlfriend that's a barista.
I have to give her a ride to, to work. So I'm already. I'm already.
All right, I'll be on the lookout for barista girls at the coffee
Yeah,
shops.
in terms of just personal 25 goals, I definitely want to move out. I was planning on moving out this year, but my girlfriend wanted to go back to college. We were going to split it. So, I kind of did, not to put her, hey, go to college, do your thing.
Yeah.
But now I want to also atone for that missing part. So moving out and doing more than I can definitely is what I want to do. Moving out, just getting better at everything I do personally, and just take that. Basically, I want to just stay where I'm at and just take that next level of that, because personally, whatever,
Yeah, you're
day-to-day happy life. Yeah.
I know you touched on it right after following
Yeah.
him, but is there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
Other goals for 25, besides traveling, less working. It's been so much work, I feel like.
It's a good goal.
I like
preach
time
that
track
goal.
all my
I'm fine with
hours.
that.
And if I count like the time I spend shooting weddings and driving and everything, like if I really, honestly, I need to get more concrete on like a number, but I feel like the way I feel like is, and in addition to the editing hours, which I am tracking, but then there's also like client meetings, client calls, that stuff all is up. Not really. I'm probably doing like 60, at least 60 hours a week, definitely. Yeah.
So you edit all your films, you don't set
No,
like
yeah. Just
I'm
me
in the
editing.
same boat, and I think that's something that I learned this year. I'm like, if you really want to spend, you have to have a team. If you want to like go like boutique and small, you have to charge more than like.
Well, what I was gonna suggest, if you're not trying to like offload everything, well, what about an assistant editor to at least call for you, organize for you?
I could.
Because you could still get the creative element in their like your own time.
Oh, and they just set it up?
Yeah, you just do the timeline. They just did the audio for you. They cut that. They do all the hard stuff.
Is that what you do?
They just do the tedious, the
They
things.
do it.
that's
They
what I would
sync in
recommend.
the
Is that what you have-
cameras
is that what
or
you have
they
done?
sync the.
No, you stop paying. You
The thing, if you really want to make sure you're editing everything yourself, it's like why not? Like a chef has a sous chef that lines everything over. Why not just offload that?
That could be it.
Because the calling stuff, anybody can do it. You know.
Will they pick the best shots?
Calling,
Hmm.
like
Will they pick the best shots?
You know. I mean, it takes time. You would have to like train somebody.
Yeah.
You always gotta train, no matter who you hire.
But that goes
Everybody got
back
different
to.
styles.
Yeah, I've tried offloading some of the editing. There's like a bride and groom video. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, I heard of them.
It's cheap. It's like $500 for a highlight, which I consider pretty cheap. To get someone to do it in the States would probably be a lot more, I would say. Like, yeah, because all the editors are probably like outside the States, I'm guessing. Actually, I know for a fact because I got a project back and one of the ceremony films was translated in like Russian. So I'm like, okay, they couldn't understand my ceremonies. So that honestly, made me a little bit like, like, are they really going to be able to choose the best things if they don't understand English or they don't understand it fully at least?
By the way, I just want to give kudos to Andre because a while back he edited a Spanish wedding, like a Dominican wedding.
Yeah.
And
That
he
one in Morristown, right?
I think he like transcribed it, and even like the ceremony vows or some point he was able to pick like, okay, like obviously translated it and it was like, okay, this is the moment. It just made 100% sense. I was like, Andre spoke Spanish. I didn't know he spoke Spanish, but
I did AP Spanish in high school, but I think for that one in particular, I just transcribed the sequence in English, took it into like there's like you can upload your transcript and then it will put it into Spanish. And then you bring it back into Premiere as captions, and then it can go it across.
That's what I'm saying. Like guys like you, man, like that go the extra mile, or like rather than, because you could have easily just said, "Hey, man, I don't speak Spanish. I can't do this." But it's like no, it's like all right, new obstacle, new challenge. How can we overcome it? How can we work around it? And then you end up getting the job done.
I feel like that's what I would need if I were to bring on like an assistant editor or any editor. And maybe again, we were talking about this earlier, but maybe I just need to believe that I can find that person. I feel like right now I have the mindset like, no, I'm the only one that could do it. I don't think anybody else would be able to do it the same as me. And maybe that's true. Maybe it won't be the same as me, but it will at least be like, in their own like different way, like as good, but it'll be like in their own creative way, right? Like it wouldn't be the same creativity as me, but it would still be as good, but in their own creativity.
Just want to go to Darwin 2025.
2025. Definitely grow the studio, make it better, more clientele, make a better space. How, I don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Green screen? Green screen?
I want to target more productions, like small to mid-sized production. People that book out like a full day and I don't have to like kind of like photographers in and out. More half days, target more of that audience. That's for the studio. For me, I am actually a luxury portrait photographer. So raising that price even more and taking on less clients, but serving my clients more. I deal with luxury products, and that's pretty much it.
Do you know Justin James Muir?
Nope.
No? Okay. I really like his photos, and I feel like he's maybe in that space. His photos are very, very good.
Yeah. Never heard of him. But yeah, less clients, more money.
Any personal goals?
Lose like 700 pounds at least.
This guy benches like 400, 500 pounds.
Jeez, sir.
That's strong.
No.
It's that dad strength.
Do you get up at 5 a.m. every day? Too?
Nah, I don't.
Yo, wake up at 5 a.m. That's what I got. Anyway, home today. I was ready.
And get a barista girl.
You wake up at 4 and leave at 5, or you wake up at 5?
No, like 4:45. But that's why my day always starts.
I mean, you could
the day
have some
before.
kids like that. That'll
kids.
spark you if you want.
Well, I'm pretty
Or
sure
just
you
got
got a
an
barista
alarm
girlfriend
clock.
too. Because
Oh,
you need
alarm
the
clock.
partner, so.
That's why it's important to start your day to day.
6, 7?
6.
No, sometimes
7.
that's-
Like 9?
6 or 7. And
Like
that's
9
way
probably,
too
right?
No, so
I go to bed at midnight,
Jack
like
last night
every
slept
night.
like 11.
What's your goal, Mr.
Your goal.
Texas?
Mr. Texas.
Mr. Texas.
Yeah, no,
His
part-
goal is Texas. That's it.
No,
That's
part
true.
of
As soon as you say like
Part
part
of,
of
Texas.
today, then your whole thing is off.
part of the move of Texas is to take on that next goal, which is just like be the better version of myself. And it's like the best version of myself is a good man, good, hopefully husband, father one day. And it's like I need to experience life in a way and also independence, right? Like as an example of I'm blessed to have the father that I have, like he left Mexico when he was 22 to come to the States and things like that. And so it's like, all right, this is my form of, getting out of the bird's nest and moving out, especially to a whole different state. Part of it too is looking towards like environment is everything. So putting myself in the right environment for growth, not that Jersey or New York, I can't grow, but I just feel like I'd be more nurtured, especially for what I'm looking for in the future when it comes to like traditional values and also like building myself in a environment where it's a lot of health and wellness, which is my target demographic. Growing the business is also another thing. I think for touching back on what you said, Andre, like, and even for yourself, one thing that I've taken this year to do that has allowed me to not only move to Texas, but be in a position to sort of be selective with my clientele has been systems and operations. Like, take your, like, if you can't answer this question, there's a lot of, from a scaling perspective, you should be able to answer this question. If I take myself out of the business, does the business survive? If it doesn't, you're not in a position to scale. And if you are in it, then obviously you're dependent on it. So if you have a sick day, you know the product's not going to be as good as if you were to do it. So I struggled or went through that and realized, okay, I do eventually want to raise a family. I do want to be at my kids', soccer games or whatever, pick them up from school. What work do I have to begin now in order to do the 5 to 10 year plan? And part of that has been writing out systems, hiring the right people, training, being okay with this person's not going to do it exactly the way I do it, but if I give them all the tools and direction they need so they can get pretty close to it, that's a better position you'll be in rather than just feeling like, okay, hey, can you do this for me? Oh, you don't do the exact same work as me? It's not going to work. And it's just like a gradual growth. It's the same way with like fitness. It should not be this end product of I'm going to just, once I hit having the six pack, that's it. I hit my goal. I stop working out. It's like, how can I level up even further? Okay, how can I dial in my food even more? What supplements could I be dialing in? It's like all these little tweaks that you make to the dials end up becoming the final product. And so for me, going into 2025, it's just continue to do what I do, just in a different environment. And then also, stay grateful, stay humble, and, keep connecting with like-minded individuals, keep being a servant to God, and that's pretty much it for me, yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
This is a great early meeting.
Yeah, at one point I'm like, this is how it feels, huh? Like everyone's quiet,
Light.
everyone's looking at like this one person talking. I'm like, oh, this.
I mean, we'll look back at this a year from now. I think we're definitely going to do this again next year.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we'll look
100%.
back and
I like this.
I think
we
we
have footage and see where all the growth we
Yeah.
have.